Hello everybody. I've got something pretty unique to show you guys today. This is not mine. This is something we were given at work, and I brought it home just to evaluate it, see if it still worked. It's a Sony model ST-S444ES AM FM stereo tuner. This is a commercial grade piece of equipment. It's rack mount, you can see, and this is something that would have gone in a commercial environment. To the end user, it's actually not too much different than any old AM FM tuner, but it's got some pretty neat high-end features. The design of the unit is very unique, and I have tested this thing. It works just fine, with a minor asterisk, which we'll see when we turn it on, but it actually does its job perfectly. Sounds good, everything. This is from about 1984, and it did come out of a commercial environment, and I suspect that it was in that environment 24/7 for almost 40 years. So, aside from the form factor of the thing, one of the things that tells you that this isn't any old tuner is right here. It says direct comparator. What on earth does that mean? I'm not totally sure, to be perfectly honest. Apparently it is some electronic magic that happens in the PLL circuitry to get like better signal to noise ratio, better reception, something like that. All I know is someone on audiokarma.org said that the Sony direct comparator tuners are some of the greatest radio tuners ever made. Alright, that's pretty cool. And then another thing is down here, it says audio current transfer, FM stereo, FM AM tuner. Audio current transfer, what does that mean? Well, the way this thing actually outputs the audio is not standard, and we'll see that in a bit when we look at the back. This thing basically outputs the audio signal not as a variation in voltage to represent the sound, but a variation in current. And I cannot find an answer on why this was done this way. You know what? Let's just look at the back. Let's start at the back. So here's the back. We got a coax input for the FM, screw terminals for the AM antenna, and there's our sound output. Uh-oh, what on earth is this? Yeah, so this does not have your standard RCA jacks. You get this weird 4-pin DIN plug, or mini DIN, or whatever it is. What on earth? I cannot get a straight answer on why the audio current transfer exists. Supposedly it gives you like better signal to noise ratio because it separates the way the sound goes from like the preamp circuit to the amplifier circuit or something. I don't friggin' know. It's weird. This whole thing's very weird. My best guess as to why this is even a thing is that Sony sold an amplifier that was also audio current transfer. So it had an input with this weird jack, and this has the output with the weird jack. So my guess is, if you bought all Sony gear, you would use this proprietary cable to go from the output of your tuner to the input of your amplifier, and it was supposed to work better and give you better sound quality than a standard setup using RCA cables. That's my best guess. But we don't have the amplifier, we just have this. So what are you supposed to do? A simple adapter? Nope, not at all. This is not as simple as ground and output for left channel and ground and output for right channel, because this is doing current variation to represent the sound rather than voltage variation. You cannot just adapt this and plug it straight into a standard RCA line level input. You need a special cable, which Sony sold with these, and it would appear that most of these that people come across don't have the special cable, and that's a problem. Now, there is a way, if you don't have the special proprietary cable, there is a way to adapt these for standard line level output. You basically take a couple of resistors, put them across the two output channels, and then you can like tap line level audio off of the resistors. I believe something like that. So that's a way to get around not having the special cable. Well, we are so lucky we got the special cable. This is the original Sony audio current transfer adapter cable. Weirdo plug on one end, RCA's on the other end. Phew! That saves us a bit of messing around. Here's the partially obscured sticker. It was made in Japan. Very nice. And on the front, we have power button, a switch to put it into programming mode, a bunch of controls. We have the AM FM bands switch, a button for the muting mode. We'll explain that in a bit. Same thing for tune mode. You got your tuning controls. IF band, that can switch between narrowband or wideband reception. Very nice feature, especially if you're trying to pick up a station that's near other stations in frequency, or if the signal is too strong, it can help sometimes. Very cool to have on this. Normally you find this on like shortwave receivers and stuff like that, but this has it too. High blend was explained to me as basically it mixes the high frequency sounds to mono. If you're not getting very good signal reception of a station, turning on high blend can help with the noise levels without having to forego stereo reception. That's pretty cool. Calibration tone is literally a 440 Hz tone that it outputs to calibrate whatever equipment is going to be receiving the audio from this thing. And then you have your memory set, scan button. We have a big vacuum fluorescent display, very nice. And we have 8 memory keys, and the memory keys have these little plastic labels where you can label them what frequency is programmed into them, FM or AM. And how you access those labels is, in the case of this one where it's got the mounting ears, you got to remove this mounting ear, and then it's 2 long strips that just pull out, and you can change out the little labels. Presumably this would have originally come with all the labels for every potential frequency, or maybe not. Maybe you had to special order them. But what's in there is what you get. In this case, I don't have any others, and none of these are valid. Oh, 102.3, that's still valid. That's a French station, I think. But yeah, that's the only one. So, like I said, this is a commercial grade piece of equipment. I know it came out of a commercial environment, and I have a feeling that it lived, or rather it worked 24/7 for its entire life, because when we turn it on, oh no, this vacuum fluorescent display, super worn out. It actually doesn't look that bad on camera. On camera it actually looks all right, but to the naked eye, those annunciators at the bottom half are so dim. Like, actually, if I do, yeah, there you go. If I switch the IF to narrow, There you go. That's a, yeah. That's how you can tell how worn out this display is. Too bad. It's a nice display. This thing does work perfect. The display is just super dim, and that's too bad. Although, doesn't hamper the functionality of the unit at all, which is pretty good. So, yeah, you've got your AM and FM. You can tell this thing lived its whole life on, or lived most of its life on FM. Your IF band, your high blend, calibration tone, you get a nice red indicator for that. Tuning mode, auto or manual. I believe in auto mode, it will automatically engage FM stereo if possible. And yeah, the muting mode, what muting does is if the signal is too weak, it just mutes the output altogether. And with the muting mode, you get either mono or stereo tuning. And your memory set and... so what the scan key does, it goes through all of the memory presets. So that's how that works. Put all these back on. And yeah, other than that, press the tuning key. It's just an FM tuner. I can go through the memory locations myself, or I can manually tune. Go to 89.7 here. Oh, I gotta turn auto off. There we go. And I don't have an antenna plugged into it yet, but I will hook you guys up, and we'll have a listen to this thing. It works just fine. So let me stick an antenna in it. Let me get the camcorder so I can plumb you in, and we'll have a listen to this thing.
One of these experiments examined whether savoring makes us happier in our day-to-day lives. Can you describe the study for us, please?
Well, we've done several of such studies to go after research on how people savor on their own when they go forth and savor. So we had technology that allowed us to contact people randomly on their device, their phone. They would then could write down what they were doing, what they were feeling, and then answer questions about whether they had just been savoring or not, which kinds of
dreamy pop sounds for you there, courtesy of Vancouver's Noble Oak.
Brett?
Yes, with respect to depression, the tendency to experience negative emotions.
Unfortunately, where I am here is pretty much a FM reception desert. Not only am I in a basement apartment, but all of the radio stations, literally every single one that I could possibly get, are on the far side of the building here. So the reception just crappy all the way around. But when you do get a good signal, and hopefully you could see that there is a pretty cool looking signal meter here. It goes from 1 to 10. This thing sounds good, or at least it sounds as good as every other high quality FM tuner I've ever listened to. Yeah, this thing is neat. And that's pretty much all there is to show of it. So what's going to happen with this guy? Well, the reason we accepted it is because at the end of our broadcast day, at midnight, we go to the community billboard. And the community billboard plays over top of the local radio station here. So we actually have another rack mount FM tuner. It's a much newer one. It's made by Kenwood. And it's just tuned into that station, turned on 24/7. And it's plumbed into our video router such that when it goes to the community billboard, it provides the sound, and it works perfectly fine. But this thing, it's a lot cooler. That's for darn sure. So I don't know if we'll replace that Kenwood with this one, or if this one will just be kept as a spare. Not sure. I'll find out when I take it back now that I'm done this video. But I hope you enjoyed looking at it with me. And I will see you guys in the next video.